be here. I will call the meeting to order at 7:02.
Okay, and Jim, you have someone with a hand raised.
What is?
Would you like me to click allow to talk for Leah, who has her hand raised?
Yeah, I don't see.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not seeing that, Beverly.
Okay. Hi, Leah. I have if you unmute yourself.
Hello.
Question. Hi.
Hi. Did I unmute myself?
You did. Yeah. Hi. Did you have a question for the commission?
No, I just want to say hello.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to move you off.
Okay, well, I will call the meeting to order it's now 7:03. Okay.
Yeah, let me just say that as I remove Leah, Leah, if I mess up, please come back to the meeting because I'm going to remove you, but sometimes it knocks you out.
I got it done for you, Bev.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thanks very much. All
okay.
Right. So I'm sorry. So 7:03, Jim?
Yep.
Okay, I'll get the presentation going.
You want to take roll, please?
Yeah, I will. I'll get right there. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
It's great.
Okay, so Jim, do you want to start?
Okay. We'll do a roll call. Rob?
Here.
Ed?
Present.
Keisha?
Present.
Rich? Or Sue? Sorry.
That would be nice. I was just waiting to see if you catch it. Yes. I'm here.
Okay. Mary Kay?
Hi.
Okay, hi. And Carla is absent.
Okay.
Let's see, Councilman Waldman.
Yes, Councilmember Waldman is filling in for your liaison, Maxine Weil.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. And Barb? Is Barb an official part of the meeting?
No, I'm
Barb?
not. I'm just hanging out.
Okay, okay. I was going to remind you to turn on your camera if you're part of this. and Parks and Rec, Don?
Yep, Dawn is here.
Hello.
In Beverly.
Yep, Dawn Sawyer, you're not on that list there. I'll add you for next month.
Okay. Appears that we have a quorum.
Yes.
Next item of business, any written communications?
We do not have any written communications since the last meeting.
Okay, on to the next item. Do we have, are there any citizens on the call? Barb or Beverly? Could you?
I am no longer able to see that. Barb, if you could check because
Leah is on there. She's the only
oh,
one.
she's raised, looks like she's raised her hand again.
Okay.
Barb, I apologize. Can you please check? I see Leah, I see the hand raised, but while I'm sharing my screen, I can't figure out how to see the controls. So I am unsure if someone wants to speak. Oops.
Let's see, I'm not.
Yeah, I am unable to, I apologize. I'm unable.
Barb, are you able to see Leah?
Hey, Beverly,
Yeah.
if you click on participants, you should get the window out to the right. And there's an attendee tab, I think. And I think you can do it from there.
Well, normally I can, but when I'm sharing my screen, oh, here, hang on. Maybe
Just keep
there
going
we
over.
go.
There you go.
I got it. Now I can see. Okay, I got to pop that open. Okay, great. All right, so it's communication, hearing from citizens. I'm going to allow Leah to talk. Here we go. So Leah, if you unmute, you'll be able to ask your question
Okay.
on anything.
So first of all, let me start by saying I'm sorry because this is my first time joining one of your meetings, and I'm not sure protocol, process, etc. So my name is Leah Silberman Bernstein. I was born and raised in Arrowhead Park. 15 years ago, my family returned to the house I grew up in, and I bought the house from my mom, and I'm now on the board of trustees. So that covers, 50-ish years. I think I did pretty good. So I'm, as a new trustee, I kind of want to know what's going on and try to figure out what things I need to be aware of and involved with as a trustee. So that's why I'm here, and hello.
Okay,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you. So I don't really have any questions because I don't know enough yet to even have a question at this moment. So.
Okay, great.
Okay. Lots of exciting things happening in the parks, so. Okay, are there any other citizens wanting to?
Nope, Leah is our only attendee.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll try this again and again, just in case I disconnect you, Leah, please do rejoin.
okay,
Leah, this is Rob Hoyerman, in a unofficial capacity, I would be happy to connect you with some of the trustees in the Forest and View subdivision, to learn more about the types of things that those things are doing. But I would do that citizen to citizen and not as park commissioner. So
Okay.
we can connect offline. I can talk to Beverly about how to get connected with you.
Great.
okay. Next item is approving the minutes from November 18th. Are there any updates or any changes that people see are necessary on those? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th, 2020.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the November 18th, 2020. meeting.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next item. Okay, the director's report.
Oh, director's report. Thank you. So it's a pretty brief report. I'll go through it pretty quickly. In lieu of all of our canceled special events, the staff created the Holiday Light Hop, which is an opportunity for residents in Olivet to place their homes on the city map, similar to what we do with the garage sale. So right now we have 10 houses registered and the map is live, and you can load the family in the car and drive around and see the lights. And so it's the first year we're doing this. We don't know we have no idea how many people participate, but I'm very pleased that the staff is coming up with creative ways to engage the public. We have entered virtual programming at the community center. So all of you remember we launched the virtual community center at the beginning of the pandemic. And then we kind of suspended that when things were back in person. And now with the community center closed again, we've relaunched it. And now new activities are going up on a daily basis. But in addition to that, we've actually have our first class being taught online. Our senior exercise class is our beta tester. We have that going on twice a week for the month of December while we work out all the audio visual and Zoom logistics. It's free for everyone, and we're promoting it out through Facebook right now. And then I apologize, a possum just came up to my window and freaked me out. I'm so sorry. we'll start charging fees for that in January.
Like for the possum? No.
We're hoping that as we start this, that our other instructors will join our senior exercise instructor Charlie and start offering their programs as well. So in order to do this, what we've done is we've converted the lecture room into a studio, and we have a big audio visual setup. Don is the master of that, and he's done an incredible job of getting us trained and up and figuring out all the logistics of that. So Charlie comes in and teaches her class, and then the students log in, and then when we start charging, we'll use their regular swipe card that everybody loads up in advance, and we'll just we have a staff member that's taking roll during the class so that the instructor doesn't have to worry about that. And then anybody that attends the class will subtract off of their payment card. So we're very excited about that. And then the next thing we're doing is adding in neighborhood association meetings. And actually, Leah in Arrowhead Park will be our first so far that we have scheduled, will be the first trustee association doing this. So in regular years, all of the homeowners associations in the city of Olivet are allowed to use the community center or the city center for free once a year. And we've been trying to figure out how we could accommodate people for that, because the center is closed. And if we bring anybody in, then then we have to go through an incredible protocol for that. So what we're doing is the recreation department now has its own paid Zoom account. So we will set up the meeting and provide the link to the trustee association, and then the staff will get it started and then back into the background, and the trustee board will run the meeting. And I'm really excited about this. This is a way that we can extend our virtual community center and provide the same services that we normally do. So I believe that the Arrowhead Park one is at the end of January. I want to say the 30th, somewhere around in there. So that'll be very exciting. And then we're going to send an email to all the trustees through the city clerk's office to let them know that this is here and available for you. So I'm pretty excited about that. Then our dark sky application was continued from the council meeting. They actually wanted to discuss it at a work session, so they'll be talking about that on January 5th. And then I'm going to turn it over to Don, and he's going to give you an update on some of the staff development that's going on right now.
Thanks, Bev. On last Wednesday, or the Wednesday of last week, we sat on a virtual training and had the MSD clean water, clean stream training that we went through. And it was pretty interesting. I mean, some pretty eye-opening stuff. Brian, Merle, and Eric and myself all sat in on it, and just some things that you wouldn't normally think of that could lead to potential contamination in the water stream. Just keeping the lids of the dumpsters closed. That way the dumpsters don't fill with water. The toxins that are in the dumpster fill up, come out of the drain port that's in the dumpster, and then leak into our stream beds. So, sorry. So yeah, it was very interesting and kind of an eye opener for us on some things that we could be doing better, should be doing better, and hopefully we'll start making those changes towards those things to see that. So,
great, thank you. Weed Warriors is really in high gear this year. I think we have some wonderful things happening. Number one, we have our new horticulturalist, Brian, who is an absolute rock star. He's volunteered at so many places for so many years himself that he really knows how to set things up for the volunteers, what's needed. He does a nice orientation to what everyone's actually doing and what the impacts are and how that works. He has everything set up. He really has embraced this program. And coupled with that, we have two other things going on. One, a lot of the places people typically volunteer aren't available right now. So there are people that really are interested in volunteering, and we're an avenue that is open for them. And then the other thing is we have the Girl Scout troop that is working towards their Bronze Award. And then we also have several young men in the Boy Scouts that have service hours that are required that they're working towards. And some of the places they volunteered aren't available either. So we have this wonderful synergy going on. So we've had some of the highest turnouts we've ever had over the years with Weed Warriors. So it's very exciting. And all ages are coming out. We have a lot of young families coming and kids are getting involved. This is our most recent one just last Saturday on the 12th, which was pretty exciting at Warson Park. And then I also have the
Stacy Park.
Sorry, Stacy Park in the Prairie. I apologize. And then we also have you've all received this through the email, the Weed Warrior update. I noticed there's a little typo on here because the before is labeled as after, but oh well. So when we started this session out at the Prairie, there was this mist of green all through the Prairie because at this time of year, the honeysuckle is the only thing that still has its leaves up. And by the time we left at the end of the day, there was no green left in the Prairie. It was phenomenal. People cut so much and got so much out, more than we've ever been able to achieve in the past. So it was absolutely wonderful. And then this last weekend on the 12th, we had a crew out there also deadheading the prairie plants and then scattering the seeds to kind of help them with their germination, because we need to do that about a month before we burn. And the application is in for the annual burn. In fact, I believe around 4 o'clock, we actually got the approval, which is pretty exciting. That's the fastest ever from the county. So Gerald Axelbaum, our burn boss, and Brian will be working on setting our first burn attempt in January. So I'll keep you posted on that. So that is it for the director's report. If anyone has any questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a question, because I'm a trustee. Is that for the weekends or only during the week, Beverly? If that could be made clear when you send communication out to the trustees, please. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, it'll be for the normal, it'll be during the time that the normal operations of the community center when it's typically open. So most of our trustees have their meetings either on the evenings or the weekends. So it'll be the same. It'll be, staff will rotate through, and we'll just make sure people are able to have it when they need it. So if we only had it between 8 and 5, that would preclude a lot of the people that are working being able to participate. So evenings and weekends will be available, but it will only be one meeting. We do have one board that tends to come in once a month, sometimes even twice a month, but that we can't sustain. And that really this Zoom opportunity will just be one time a year. So, but excellent question, Missy.
Can I ask a question of Don?
Sure.
Don, with the MSD training, was there anything about an assessment of the parks and what we may or may not be contributing in terms of toxins and unwanteds? Because I know we have a lot of storm inlets that, recently were uncovered, with honeysuckle and whatnot. And I was just wondering about drainage. Is there any move to assess what our liabilities are with the parks or what we're contributing?
Some of it we're already addressing in our redesign plans. And for instance, whenever Logos School salts their parking lot, where does Logos parking lot all drain to? It drains to Herbside. So all that contaminated, very high, salt water comes into right there at the fence line, and and then down and into the ground level. So some of that is being addressed now, because we know that that's a common runoff place, that we're going to capture some of that a little bit better and not continue it on. But yeah, I mean, there's things that we've looked at, even within the city, we're like, oh, well, whenever we go to Public Works, that's right there. Just things that we're now more aware of in how we do our day-to-day operations and what we're doing and how we're doing things. it was a big eye opener for us. And like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Oh yeah, I never thought of that. Oh well, so it was a great training, and I think we could go through it year by year and learn something every time.
Well, I definitely appreciate you guys going through that training, and because it's a really important aspect of everything we're doing to, reestablish habitat and, clean water and that. So I applaud you, and I was really happy to see that on the agenda today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? I don't know where it should officially fit in, but did you notice Leah's question in the Q&A? I realized that are in the chat.
I did not see that.
In the chat.
Sorry. Oh, in the chat. Okay, I did not see that. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, the chat. Here we go. Okay.
I think that was related to the light hop that she was.
Okay. Can we add a charitable component dropping off non-perishable food items for a pantry? Oh, for the light hop? Well, we just completed the big food pantry drive for the turkey trot. We can promote people to tell them where to drop food items off because we work closely with the Harvey Kornblum Jewish Food Pantry. But the light hop itself will be happening at night when the community center is closed. So I don't see. I'm not sure how we could facilitate that, but we could definitely tell people where they could send their food items. Absolutely.
Okay.
And then Arrowhead Park is developing some of these volunteer engagement opportunities. Students can also gain credit towards, oh, that's great. Great. Arrowhead Park is doing that. That's wonderful. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions of Beverly? Okay, let's move on the agenda.
Hey, City Council report.
All right, that's me on behalf of Maxine Weil, who could not be here tonight. She sends her regards and wishes everybody a happy, healthy holiday and New Year as well. Because the actual meeting date would be right around the Christmas holiday, and we had important stuff that we still needed to get done, and we needed 2 meetings. So last night, the council passed an ordinance amending the business licenses. Currently, businesses are supposed to be providing their sales to the city in January and paying what they owe the city by February. And the recommendation of the city manager, the council last night approved moving this, submitting their prior year sales 15th. Last night, we also did the first reading of the ordinance to authorize the execution of a cooperation agreement with Great Rivers Greenway Centennial, of which you all have been a part of, and some of the people here tonight have been a part of it with regards to Indian Meadows. The council also passed a resolution authorizing the contract with Esri Inc. and ProWest for software and services because, and this is where I like what I do, the city of Olivet does need software for your geographic information system, and the current system we're using is not sufficient for what we want and where we want to go. So the city did its due diligence and investigated several systems, and at the end of the day, the recommendation to the council was Environmental Systems Research Institute, which has a cloud-based software and meets the city's needs, and ProWest and Associates will provide data mitigation and solution configuration services where needed. And our big guy with the city is Jonathan Roper, and this will allow Jonathan to continue to do what he can do on behalf of the city, the parks, and various other departments. So that was a good move by the council. And then finally, the council did pass a resolution calling for the convening of the Olivet TIF Commission. There has been a modification request of the developer down at I-170 from one of the buildings from being full business to residential. And so last night we passed that resolution to begin the efforts of convening our TIF commission. And with that, that's pretty much all I have to report. We did see the park plan that you'll see tonight. thought it would kind of be the other way, but look forward to hearing what y'all think. And I will sit back and enjoy the rest of the meeting listening to you. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions of Councilman Waldman? Okay, next item.
I had a quick comment on that. The Esri system that was approved last night is really exciting, and there are several applications that we'll be using as the software rolls out over the next couple of years, including how we track our park amenities. There's hope we'll get our tree inventory into it. So it will be down the road, it's going to be a wonderful tool for our park management. So thank you, Missy and the rest of the council for that. It really is going to be innovative. And Jonathan Roper in the planning department is a GIS coordinator. That is one of his job titles. So we're very excited because he's really paved the way for this. So it's great. Thank you.
Next item.
Okay, next item are our park concept plans. And this is very, very, very exciting. I am going to see if I can, we're going to see behind the curtain for a minute as I get up the plans that
yeah, and this is a lot of the feedback that we did last month is reflected in these plans as they're coming through.
Okay, here comes the PowerPoint. It'll take it just a quick second. I don't know why it's taking so long, but here it comes.
Beverly, were these plans emailed? And I just did.
They were.
Okay, because I can't seem to locate that. And it's not attached to the agenda. At least it's just
It's
a cover
not.
sheet. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. We got the report yesterday. The steering committee saw it in the morning. It went to the council in the evening, and it came to the Parks Commission tonight. And we just wanted everyone to see it right away. And that I apologize that it went in that order. Okay, so what you have tonight are the concept plans for all 5 parks. What you received in your email is you received 2 things. One, you received the concept plans, but also 2, you received the big appendix that goes with them with a great level of detail that it shows samples of all of the different amenities in there. So when the microsite is launched for all of the parks and the new community center, that whole packet will be up in there when it's approved. So right now, just for going through the meeting, we're just going to show the concept plans without all the annotation on it because it's really hard to see on the screen. But you all have the full report that you can go through at your leisure. But I want to make sure everybody kind of walks through it tonight. So tonight's a chance to kind of look at it at a high level. You'll notice a lot of your suggestions from the last go around have been incorporated in here. So I'm pretty excited about this. It really is starting to look like we are going to have all of our parks renovated. It's very exciting. So here we go. We'll start off with Warson Park because this will be the one that's the most activity is happening in this park because 1, it's never been developed before. 2, the new community center is going in there, and 3, the Centennial Greenway is going in. So I think the next slide we can zoom into here we go. We zoom into the north part. So this is the latest route. Is everyone able to see my cursor here as it comes down? You see my arrow? Okay, great. Yes. So this is the Greenway coming down through the northern part of Warson Park, which right now is pretty cut off to the public because you can't really get there from here without going into the business park over here, industrial park. So this is the connection that as it comes out of Indian Meadows Park, it comes down through here. It's going to cross we have a little stream over here. You can go off and veer off into the new nature trail, courtesy of Ed Kastner, the Sassafras Trail, or you can continue, oops, apologize, that wasn't supposed to happen. There you go. Or you can continue on the Greenway all the way over to Warson Park, or you can veer off and come into the new community center. And I'm gonna see if So what's hard is it's hard to for me to zoom in on this, but let me see. I don't think I can. I actually can't in PowerPoint. I apologize. But this is the community center location. It has remained pretty much in the same spot throughout this process. You'll notice that the greenway really swings much wider now. This is in order for it to get the ADA accessibility and not exceed the 5% grade. The current steep path here is called to be eliminated, and we'll have a stair steps in here for people if they'd like to access that. And then we also have the ADA accessible trail or pathway that takes you back up to the southern end of the park. The parking and drop off is here. These islands in here are all going to be bioretention basins, as well as here and over here, and then another one over here. So there's quite a few. To Ed's question earlier, there's quite a bit of stormwater retention and water filtration happening on this site, which is pretty exciting. This is a vision item here, the community garden, which is where the current park house is, and the existing gravel driveway will stay. And then there'll be a little gravel parking pad here for people to be able to come in and see the community garden. This is also going to be a beautiful vista because this is the highest point in the park. You'll be able to look out and see the community center. And actually in the wintertime, particularly like right now, when you walk through the current community center, you can actually see all the way to Page. And you know, it's wonderful. It's this, our street is called Grandview. And it really is a grand view, but we kind of forget about it with all the leaves on the trees during the summertime. So there'll be a beautiful vista from the community gardens here. When we have our public meetings at the end of January to share the plans and everything, one of the tasks is going to be to highlight on those plans what is the short-term and the long-term goals as opposed to a vision goal. So for example, the community garden is a vision goal, meaning it's not funded through the Prop C funds, but it will be built through the course of the master plan. So the architects, landscape architects are going to come up with a way to shade it and turn layers on and off so it's really clear to people, because we want to make sure that when the parks actually get built, there isn't an item that someone was really thinking was going to be built right away and then it's not there. I really want to make sure that everybody understands what's funded through Prop C and what is still part of that 10-year master plan. And the community garden is a primary example because it's very possible that we'll get a grant actually to pay for that. Same with the dog park out here. This new dog park is also a vision item, and that's something that we anticipate we'll be able to partner with the county from the animal shelter, because as you all know, the volunteers from the animal shelter walk all the shelter dogs to Warson Park and around the park. So this is being much closer for them, and it's a great opportunity for us to do a joint partnership. Before I move to the southern end, does anyone have any questions on this part of Warson Park? Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to the southern end. So the southern end, you'll notice as we travel along, the existing pathway will remain, but then this new pathway will wrap around. This gives people that circular walking path that we're doing in all the parks, but it also provides a way for anybody with limited mobility, or a child on a bicycle with training wheels, or someone in a wheelchair, or someone pushing a wheelchair or a stroller, will really be able to move through the park without it facing any steep grades. So I'm very excited about this because, as you all know, we have that incredible elevation change from the community center out to the Old Saints, where the new community center is being built. The playground, the existing playground will remain. It'll be slightly expanded through the vision. The splash pad will go here. What you can see on the files that I sent you, which you can barely see here, there is a dashed red line that shows you the profile of the existing community center. So that kind of helps you understand with the phasing that this splash pad will have to be built after the community center comes down. So that's one of the one of the tasks of our project manager and the engineers and the landscape architects, trying to figure out just how quickly different things will happen with the phasing. So then also in the footprint of the community center is a full court basketball court. And this is also will have to be built after the community center comes down. And then a vision item is to have a shade structure here and restrooms here. So that we're hoping can be built through using the same pipes and water as the existing community center, repurpose that. Right now it's showing it's the actual footprint of that front prow of the current community center. If there's a way we can retain that or have whatever we build to kind of echo that, it would be really nice to kind of maintain that presence of Grandview School through that. You'll notice that the driveway has been eliminated over here, and that opens up a lot more green space. This calls for a nature playground here, nature elements, logs and boulders and things for children in the neighborhood. It retains our big, beautiful bald cypress tree here, and then the Olivet and Bloom Gardens. Then the cars will come in and out on a shared driveway here. There'll still be parking for people that need to go to the athletic fields out here. And then this is the new park facility maintenance location. So the last time you saw this plan, the warehouse was actually located east-west, and you'll notice it's changed north-south because once they did even more surveying in there, notice that there's a giant storm drain inlet right here. So we're moving that away from that to make sure that we are following the best practices. And also it allows us to do a lot less grading, which is a lot cheaper because there's quite a big slope to get the water in there. The parking lot has a dramatic slope in here. So the gazebo will remain, the swings will remain, and then the circulation will be improved through this area. Any questions on the southern end here?
Yeah, Bev, I have one.
Sure.
You were mentioning the circulation. So all of those white lines, do they represent a paved path, or is there like different materials? Like, will some of them be, you know, stepping stones for better, for lack of a better term, or like what? Because it seems like it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. There's a wide variety. So in your packet, you'll see that pathways can be all sorts of things. It can be asphalt, it can be concrete, it can be decomposed granite. It can be gravel. So there's lots of different elements in there. So you're absolutely right. The less non-permeable surfaces we have, the better. Now the ADA accessible one will probably have to be paved because that is in order for it to really work with all those different mobility issues. But there's lots of options. The other thing that happens too is the pricing of concrete and asphalt and everything fluctuates quite a bit. So when it actually comes time for us to do the estimates and find out what we're doing, we may have limited options. We just may not be able to afford it at that time. So right now you'll see there are lots of different options, and those will be addressed when we get into detailed, the schematic first and then detailed design. Because remember, right now this is still just our concepts, but we really want to make sure in this concept phase that we've got everything in there and that everything has a place, whether it's something to be built immediately or in a vision. We need to make sure we have it there. These lighter colored areas, this is native plantings, not mowed grass. So that really provides a big change from what we have right now that'll allow us to have better horticultural practices and eliminate our invasive species. And then long-term, that beautiful sassafras trail, the plan is to continue up through here as another option for people to walk through a wooded area. Then you'll notice over here that we have the pickleball tennis courts kind of floating off over here. And the reason for that is there is an opportunity that we could perhaps do this with the new Miriam School as a joint project. So rather than trying to squeeze them in, you can see they are quite large. That is something that we've considered and seeing if that's something that they might be interested in partnering with the city on.
does that line up with that path that currently exists that connects their property to ours?
It does, actually. So originally we talked about maybe putting it here because there's a big plateau here before they have the drop off, but this is a really nice wood. So, and it's their property. So they may prefer to have it here, or they may prefer to have it over here. We'll see. But when you do, if we are able to do some sort of a joint powers agreement with them, they would use it during the day when school's in session, and then park users will be able to use it after school and on the weekends. So I think that's a creative solution for something that we just couldn't fit into the plans.
And
I have a
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Ed.
I'm sorry, just one last one on the athletic fields. Are those big enough still for cricket, or is that more of a Stacy Park thing?
That'll be at Stacy Park, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry,
yeah, it's not large enough.
Yeah, so I had a question regarding like access. I know you talked about different types of surfaces, but is it possible, can you slide your screen down, or I don't know if it can move?
Let me, oops, let me see if I hit escape.
Well, maybe, so.
Do you want to go back up to the north side?
No, I'm just trying to see, so how would emergency vehicles gain access to the back area by the athletic fields?
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking.
Oh.
So if anything, I'm looking like if there were to somebody breaks their leg playing softball on the athletic field, how would an ambulance get there if this is not paved roads?
Well, this paved asphalt road will remain, and this is how they currently access it, and this is also how the parks crews drive their trucks through the park. So this will absolutely stay.
Okay.
Yeah, and that get access to here, and it also gets them back into the community gardens too.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could barely see that, so you pointed it out. Okay.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, the shading is pretty tough, and when you look at your packet one, you can kind of zoom in. It's much clearer in there when you're able to actually manipulate it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oops. Oh, now it's starting over. I apologize. Technology is our friend. I apologize that I'm not being smooth with this. Okay, so here we're coming into Indian Meadows Park. And as you all know, this is a really long park. So it's divided in two, but I wanted you to be able to see the whole view of it first before we start to dive into the detail. So this is the western edge. So over here is the long, thin path, a part of Warson Park that connects in with Indian Meadows here. So the Great Rivers Greenway will come along through here. It'll pass by the pavilion and the playground, and then it'll continue through the park. When it comes along through here, it joins up with our existing pathway. So our existing pathway will be redone by Great Rivers Greenway. And then they'll be adding a drinking fountain here, which is great because we don't have one in this park. So that's really exciting. The playground here will remain. It'll be refreshed a little bit. And then the other thing, you'll notice that there's a lot of yellow trees here. So yellow is a tree that is, when we had the analysis done of all the trees in the park, they were green, yellow, or red. Red meaning that they were either diseased or dangerous or in major decline. And so they'll eventually be removed. Yellow means that they're ones we have to look at. So in here, we have a lot of pin oaks, and the pin oaks in this, particularly over in here, have an incredible gall infestation. So when you go out and look at them, they've got those the round galls that are naturally occurring on trees, but oftentimes it's when an insect deposits its eggs in the tree grows a protective covering around it, and then the insects hatch. But in this situation, this gall is rampant in here, and it's actually, these trees are really suffering. And I think it's the pin oaks that are really having the problem. So when you walk through here, you can take a look at and see. So the landscape architects and the arborists are concerned that we may want to look at that and perhaps thin those a little bit, and that actually allow people to kind of see the playground a little bit better too, because oftentimes people drive by there and they don't even realize there's a park there. So so as you see yellow, that's really something to think about, that those trees may need to be replaced. And our plan, as you know, with our Parks Master Plan, has an emphasis on native plants and maintaining our forest. So when trees have to be removed, we will replace them. It's just sad because it takes so long for them to grow and to get to that size again.
So Beverly,
Yes.
do we have a plan to replace those with more mature trees rather than brand new saplings?
Well, it depends on several factors. It depends on which tree is selected to go in that area and what stock is available when we do it. So sometimes larger trees, when you put them in, they're larger, but they don't kind of establish their roots and kind of take off as quickly as some smaller trees that are put in. So that will be something that the landscape architects and the horticulturalists will work together to figure out the best trees to put in that location. Because like a 15-gallon tree it's not like a tiny sapling, but it's not like a giant majestic tree. But if you were to import in one of those massive trees that are already grown that's in a burlap bag, it may not thrive as well and it may die. So sometimes it's more cost effective to buy the smaller tree because it's going to establish itself and grow better. So that will be something that when they get into the really detailed design phase, that they'll really grapple with that and come up with the best recommendation.
Another question about colors. The light green
Yes.
versus the dark green trees, is there a significance, or it just happens to be how they're drawn?
I think it's one is a conifer, one is a deciduous tree, but I'm not entirely sure. But green does mean good. So we know that those are healthy trees. And they could be, the other thing it could be, some could be existing and some could be planned. And again, I'm unsure about that.
That's why I was trying to figure out if some of those
Yeah.
are future plantings versus current trees.
I'm not sure. When we get into some of the other parks, it's easier to tell. But Indian Meadows, actually, what's interesting about Indian Meadows has some of our best trees in the city. There's a beach at Indian Meadows, and none of our other parks have a beach. There's, I think our largest maple is in Indian Meadows Park. There are some beautiful, majestic trees in this park. And I get really excited about the renovations that are going to happen here, because I think a lot more people will be able to see that, because some of them are just hidden by honeysuckle. And as we start to open that up, I think people will really get a better look at these beautiful trees that we have through here. This is an amazing park in the springtime to walk through here. It is so pretty in here. So the other thing you'll notice are these little nodes along the trail, and these are little athletic workout stations. So those will be added in along through the trail. All right, if there are no further questions on the west, I'll move to the east. Okay, so here's the eastern side. So over here is Dealman Road, and this is where Great Rivers Greenway will cross and come into Napoleon. The sidewalk will be widened here, and that retaining wall will be moved back and replaced with a new retaining wall. And I'm very excited about that, because our current one is in decline, so that's wonderful. And Great Rivers Greenway is actually going to pay for that, which is a nice thing for us. And then the greenway will move into the park and kind of come into some areas that aren't used right now in Indian Meadows Park. So this is really nice. So our current pathway is over here. That will remain, but then the main Great Rivers Greenway will come up over here, and it'll come up into this high area here. Now, my understanding from Ed and from the parks crews is that there actually used to be a playground up here. Mm-hmm. So it'll come up through here, and that'll bring it away from this house right here. So it'll come up and then come back down and then continue on. And then you'll notice this is another pathway. This will be our pathway that goes in, and it's a connector between the two, but it also allows people, if they just want to walk in a loop at Indian Meadows Park, they can. They don't have to go back and forth on the Greenway. And then this calls for playground here. And then they took your parking comments to heart, and they moved the parking in further in off the street. And this is a little shaded picnic area. It's not a big pavilion. It's just an area to offer shade for someone that wants to sit while their children are playing, or to have snack after the playground, but it will not have a barbecue pit. It will not be considered a big shelter. And then in the center, there'll be a little council circle for people. They can sit in a circle and chit chat, or it could also be an area where we set up an information booth if we have an event going on in here, like we offer the movies in the park out here or something else. So I think that's another nice feature in here. And then you'll see picnic tables that are scattered around under the shade here, and people will be able to move those the way they do at Stacy and follow the sun. And then a vision item was this sculpture walk, offering the sculptures along here. So it'll give some interest here too. And I think I've covered, oh, this is a bioretention basin here. All of you probably remember that we struggle in the summertime to mow this part. So much water comes through here. So this used to be where the River des Peres flowed. It actually came right through here, through the park, and then meandered around through here. So this area, the water table is very close to the surface. And we also have what we think is a little spring over here. So it's trying to create a little creek as the water travels to the River des Peres. And then this area becomes, sometimes it can have 2 inches of water in it. And there have been times when we've had really rainy summers where the grass grew up over the wheel wells of the trucks. When we try and mow it under that conditions, the mowers and the trucks get stuck out there. So what this calls for is a bioretention basin here that'll be planted with native plants and trees, and that will pull this water over here and allow this to be mowed and also be used for events more frequently. So I'm very excited about this. So this will all help all the water get to the River des Peres without flooding out the park.
Very nice. Well, very thoughtful.
Okay, have any questions about this side?
Did they say how many parking spots ever that they were thinking? Or are we still in that concept phase?
They're still in the concept phase. When we get into schematic design, that's when they'll really start grappling with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Where is that parking lot supposed to be located? Near what home or what address, Beverly?
It's where Grandview turns into Huron. So
Lonnie's old home, Missy.
It is Lonnie's old home.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. That's what I was thinking. Thanks.
Okay,
That's the best
that's
spot.
good. Okay.
And to, what is that, Iroquois Circle or?
Oh, to Yucca. Yeah.
Yucca.
Yes. So the city owns this land here, and the park master plan calls for reopening that. So this neighborhood is this section of the neighborhood is actually able to walk into the park. So we will need to do some outreach over here and make sure that everybody is aware of that before it suddenly happens. Because at some point, this gate was shut and locked with a lock, and we don't know the history of that. So that will be it could be that people that are neighbors over here don't realize the city owns this land. So we'll definitely have to do some outreach with that. Okay. All right, this is Stacy Park. And when you look at this view, you can see just how big the reservoir is. It really is massive. And again, because of the size, this is also divided into 2. This is the north section. This is the prairie. And when we did the park master plan, and then when we turned the documents over to these current landscapers, we gave them the original master plan for the prairie as well, which was an addendum on the master plan. And that original plan called for an outlook to look out over this area and called for additional paths through the prairie. So I'm very excited to see that and to see that come to fruition. What's exciting, so one of the things that Brian started with Weed Warriors is he went into the prairie ahead of the work days and mowed pathways in there so that the volunteers could walk easily into the prairie to get to the honeysuckle instead of having to battle through it through the tall grass and then drag the honeysuckle out. And the minute he mowed it, park users are walking through it. So it's really exciting. People are really loving it. So that shows that we're right on the right track with getting people access in there. So what this also does is it formalizes the use we have right now with people walking through here, walking their dogs. So this will give people a lot more of a loop. It still shows the dog park here. We still don't know if this will be a fenced dog park or if we want to experiment with having off-leash hours, like in the early morning or the late evening, where people could run their dogs off leash back in there. So that we will determine at a future time, but we definitely know that people love taking their dogs down there. So rather than fighting what the residents are doing, I think it's great that we're going to be able to embrace that and provide a better experience for them. It'll also renovate the existing water feature. We still need to find out if we have to fence it or if we need to make it more shallow, but it will stay in the same location. And Jim's done an incredible amount of work over there over the summer, which is great because it really proved that it works well. It just needs maintenance and needs some longer term repairs in there. So it's very exciting. Then we also, as a vision item, is this parking here for people that are visiting from the other side of Olivet. They won't have to drive all the way around the corner to come in. And then it shows our new bald cypress cutoff is in here. I love that as we've gone through the concept plan and as we've changed the park so dramatically over the summer, landscape architects have kept pace and they keep adding these in. So I think that's really nice. Another vision item is to put a restroom here and a storage facility for the ball fields. So this allows people, if they're playing on this end or if they're walking over here, they don't have to trek all the way back to the pavilion to use the restroom. So I think that is a great service for our residents or park users, but that is a vision item there. Okay. Any questions on this? One thing at the last meeting, we talked about perhaps putting frisbee golf in here, and they removed that out because of the sight lines in a prairie. It just didn't seem like that's something they could do. One item we are thinking about in this area is this tall grass prairie down here is doing really well. The soil's good. The plants are very well established. Up here, this area, the city of St. Louis calls the rock yard because when repairs or reinforcements are done on the reservoir, this is the area where they put the gravel, the rock, and made the concrete. So the soil up here is very poor. And we notice that the prairie plants are really struggling to thrive up here. We also have an incredible invasion of crown vetch in here, which we can't get out, and it has a 30-year seed bank. So one of the recommendations that we've had from Scott Woodbury from Shaw Nature Preserve is to kind of entomb this with new soil. So it'll bury those crown vetch seeds so they can't get out. And then it'll improve the soil, and then we can reseed it. And we, one of the things that Brian and myself and some of the volunteers are considering is perhaps that this prairie could be a shorter prairie, similar to the Danforth prairie. So not the tall grass, but the shorter grasses with more flowers in there. So that's something that we're looking at now that could give park goers two different experiences, one the tall grass and then one the short grass. So we'll see what happens as we go down the road with that.
Beverly, I might have a couple questions. I have more comments, if I may.
Sure.
So I've really been wrestling with the parking lot, and recently when I was at Stacy and looking at that area and kind of just envisioning it, I I understand its need. It would give great access, especially the people on Heather Hill over there. They wouldn't have to go all the way around the Horn. But when I really look at that area and experience that area, walking in the prairie, taking the bike path down, the cypress cutoff, all of that, I mean, it's really designed and made for walking and biking.
Mhm.
And I just fear that, you know, even just a little parking lot, you know, like what we're talking about, added to that really changes that feel. That it's like this hidden area where you get away from cars, even though ironically, you know, that Warson's right on the other side, right? But
Right.
it has that feel. I'm wondering if, I wonder if the spaces can be maybe not necessarily eliminated, but if they're reduced to maybe only for disabled parking, because there is that issue, because if you are
Okay.
disabled, you really don't have access to that area easily because of the hill. And I
Right.
could understand that, but I'm not really comfortable with, you know, a 10, 15 car parking lot down there. And I'm wondering, my question is, the trees that are there because the parking lot makes kind of like a U shape, are
Yes.
those existing trees they're trying to save, or they just want, or those all be mowed down and then those will be replanted?
I have a feeling, because I did not ask this question, but I have a feeling that these would be new trees, because, you know, when through here, we've removed so many of those evergreens that were dying.
Right.
I think in the time I've been here, we've cut down 6 trees through here. They were planted, I think, too close together, and I think some of them actually had their basket, the roping metal baskets still on them when they were put in the ground. So they just haven't done well. So I think that those are new trees. But
Okay.
That's good points, Ed. I'm writing notes down.
Well then, if that's the case, then I guess that helps me, because I think the parking lot is just way too close to the path.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, if we have to have it, it almost needs to be as far away as possible. Maybe the trees go on the other side to create a buffer.
Oh,
somewhat,
okay.
or if not trees, at least shrubs or something. I don't know. I
Okay.
understand the need for it. I just hope it doesn't become this really large thing, because it really will change the character of that area. I think. I'm wrestling
Okay.
with it, because
Okay.
you need access, but at the same time, you know.
Okay, I'm making that note down on here.
Thank you.
That, so what I've written is, so the parking along Warson Road is needed. However, it really changes it really changes the feel of the park in that location. And that, could it be only ADA accessible parking? Or could it move further towards the street and have a tree or shrub buffer to shield the view of the cars from park users and in the prairie?
Thank you.
Okay.
That was better said than I did. Thank you.
And
Well,
Brett,
only because
is it also possible to just flip it so that, like, where the trees is maybe that's what you're saying, Ed, that the parking is at Warson and the trees are behind it. So you would come in and pull into the parking space facing Warson, and the trees would be behind it, still keeping the feel of the path.
Okay.
Rather than cars facing the park.
Okay, I'm putting flip parking so cars face Warson.
And I suppose this has probably been looked at and is impossible anyway, but is there any way to do a satellite parking on the other side, since Bayer or Monsanto, whatever, recently put in that nice crosswalk? I mean, I wonder if there's a way, you know, just like we're doing with pickleball, maybe it has to be a little farther, but if it's still accessible by pedestrians and it's not that far away, is there anything over there or something that could happen? Because I mean, we're opening it up the park to that whole entire complex. Maybe we should get something for that.
Yeah, maybe we just ask them. We could just ask Bear, hey, would you allow some park use parking over here? They have a substantial lot over there. It does have a giant security gate there. But
Beverly?
Yeah.
We have been unable to get access there because for security issues. That may change in the future, but they have more security issues.
Okay.
But I mean, you make a note of it, but
Yeah.
that's been the issues we've had when we've
Okay.
tried to secure additional parking for other things.
Yep, no problem. I wrote it down. Okay. All right. Any other questions? If you haven't been over here recently, I suggest it's a nice walk to go through there. A Jim person is removing honeysuckle through here like nobody's business. And you can actually see through here right now, which is pretty exciting. Okay, moving on to the big show at Stacy Park. So I'm going to start at the western end and move to Old Bonham. So we have the Bald Cypress Trail coming up through here, and the path is remaining. And then we have the new Cottonwood Trail that comes in through here. Thank you very much, Ed. Then Ball Field 3 has been removed. We saw that in the last iteration. And what the plan is calling for right now is artificial turf infields, only the infields being artificial turf. And we don't know if we can afford that, but it's something to find out and to research. So we have that in there. That would extend the playing season, and it also might make these more desirable for some rentals or even our own programs would really appreciate it. These fields are incredibly multi-use. So there are, I don't have them in this presentation, I don't think. Let me look real quick. Oh, I do. Okay. So we've got more iterations that show you all the different combinations you can do. So this big oval is cricket. You can see how much space it really needs. And it has a tiny little pitch right here in the middle. That's where the bowling happens, right in here. But this is where the fielders go. But then these are, Dawn, help me out. What size are these soccer fields? Are these U12s?
Sorry, new laptop, trying to figure it out. Those are the 10U fields.
10U, okay. And then the 10Us can divide into
12. A 12U field can fit 2 10U fields and 4 8U fields.
Okay, so that gives you an idea of how just how much land we have here. Now the plan does call for a little bit of grading in here, but again, grading is very expensive, so we're not sure how much we'll be able to do. And then one of the big questions that we get all the time is what the distance is around the pathways at Stacy. This new loop that you see here is a half mile. So that gives people an immediate half mile so they can walk it twice to get that full mile. Right now, if you walk all the pathways in Stacy, you're at 0.9. So it really does give that nice loop that people will be able to track really easily. Now, as we move further into the center part of the park, you can see the half-court basketball is remaining. And then I'm going to jump over to Old Bonham. One of the primary things that we wanted to address with this park master plan is to improve the pedestrian and car situation at Stacy Park. So we're all very familiar with the fact that the walking trail crosses the driveway of Stacy Park. And we are very fortunate that we have not had serious accidents here because kids go flying along on their bikes. We have a lot of seniors that walk very slowly, and cars are constantly coming in and out of here. So what the landscape architects have done is they have completely eliminated this section of the trail, and they have, this is also really faint, but this is the current trail coming through here. It will still wrap all the way around, but then it brings people back around through here, or they can come around through here and get back onto the main trail. So that is very exciting. The other big challenge that we have at Stacy Park is in the parking lot, when you want to access the playground, the kids' playground, there are no pathways to the playground. So right now, people have to, if they want to use a sidewalk, they have to come over to the pathway here, cross the driveway, and then come all the way up through here into the playground. That really becomes a difficult, almost like a gauntlet for anybody that has limited mobility or trying to bring young kids in a stroller or a backpack and everything that they're kind of trying to come in. The other big challenge we have right now is this is where the dumpster is. This is where our ADA accessible parking is, way over here. And then the pavilion sits right here. So anybody coming has to come all the way across the parking lot, then come all the way up that long trail to get to the pavilion. So what excites me about this is the backside of this new pavilion will allow people with ADA parking that are coming to an event, or people can drop off their cupcakes or their barbecue or everything right here at the back, and no more cars driving into the pavilion. So I'm very excited about that. Anytime we can eliminate residents driving into the park is a good day. There also are crosswalks in here now, so that these islands will have paved down the center so that people can exit their cars, come on a safe pathway, and then actually use a crosswalk to get up into the main part of the park. And then we still retain all of the flexible picnic tables that move around and follow the shade, because that is a huge thing that people love. We have them on both sides of the pavilion. And what the pavilion offers now is, this will be the covered pavilion. It'll have the restrooms in it. It'll have the same capacity. Right now it's calling for 250, which is our current capacity. The master plan, we'd actually reduced it down to 200, and I've been struggling to remember why we did that. So if any of you remember, please do remind me. But then the other thing that it offers now is this patio plaza that's attached to the pavilion. So that means that if you're coming in and having a special event, it now has a really nice demarcate area that's set aside so that you can have your event, have your different games or things that are associated with your picnic. And then the other park users can still go about their business, and it allows multiple uses without the two really, the way it happens right now, people walk through events all the time, whether they're part of it or not. And it's not going to be a high fenced area. It'll have a low like seating area there, but it really helps clearly define what's the special event, or that's someone's birthday party or whatever, and then what's the rest of the park. So I think that's a really nice improvement. And then this is a full court basketball, and it's sitting right on the footprint of the old pavilion. And so that allows less grading, and it also is already a nice flat area. So I'm excited about that too, because we know that there's so many people that really want to play basketball. And our current one gets a lot of use, and it's just not a full court. So that's pretty exciting too. All right, I'm trying to think if I've left anything out. Oh, and this is expanded parking. This now gives us 163 parking spots. Currently, I think we're around 100. Dawn, do you remember, are we like about 120 right now? 130?
I think it's like 130, because they were
130.
talking about the area on the eastern or the western side isn't what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So over here, this is a bioretention basin. So the parking lot will drain over to here. This is the way the water flows right now. So that's nice that we're capitalizing on that grading. There's a big storm inlet right here. The other thing that this calls for is brand new plantings here to kind of shield a little bit of that ugly reservoir fence there. Now this parking is somewhat of a vision, because until we actually go out to bid, we don't know what we're going to be able to afford with those parking stalls. So some of this may happen, and some of it may have to be postponed and happen in future years with the parking, because that is just so expensive. Oh, the other improvement here we have to provide this access to the city of St. Louis utility trucks. So this, it will still cross the pathway here, but that it will have the authorized vehicles only here. And they typically come through 1 time a day, sometimes 2 times a day. And that's about it. So oftentimes they come in off of Olive too. So that really is a minimal crossing of that crosswalk right there.
Hey, Beverly,
Yes.
question I thought of last night. So on the eastern edge there, where the trail used to be, the eastern
of the
other
park?
side. Yeah.
Oh, eastern edge.
Along-
Yes. Oh, yes. Around here. Yes.
So they will literally take the path out that's there now?
Yes, correct.
Okay, wanted to make
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, and that helps us too because that gets a permeable surface out of there. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and,
non-permeable. Yeah.
and they're going to replace it with a retention.
Yes, with a big bioretention basin. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Is
wanted
there a
to,
reason that the service road can't be on the other side? I mean, we solved the problem at the entrance, but it seems like we're recreating the same problem, even though it's not that often. But it's not just the it's just not the city workers. It's also our workers as well needing to get access to the prairie. I just wonder, like, why it seems like it could just be flipped pretty easily.
Which could be flipped.
So I can't point obviously because you can't see what I'm pointing
Oh,
at. But
you mean have this come this way and have the road be over here?
yeah, like why does the service road have to cross the walking path at all? Why can't that just be on the higher end and the walking path come down so we solve that crossing issue?
Yeah, I will ask. I will ask.
hey, for the record, Ed, you can go up and get the annotate tool and you could draw on there if you wanted.
Oh, you're right about that. Yeah, but then we'd be really in trouble. We don't
Well,
want that.
it's helpful for short things. Yeah, so
I
someone
see
can
what
do
you're
it.
saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you for that reminder. I had one other question though, Bev.
Yes.
The sculptures that are currently there in the parking lot, it's a small thing, but is there a plan to relocate them? Perhaps
Yes.
on one of those islands?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you see all of it in bloom. Oops, let me get, I can never get these off again. Once I start them, Sue, how do I get it off? Oh, I hit mouse, never mind, got it. Okay, so you notice all of it in bloom here. This is their garden here. So I am going to meet with all of it in bloom and just go through everything with them so that they're 100% clear on what's going on. And again, this is a vision. We don't know how much of this we can do. But absolutely we'll retain them, their sculptures too, because those sculptures were part of, I think they're 10-year anniversary sculptures. So we'll definitely keep those. One thing I did learn recently, which I didn't know, because their islands are roughly about here. There's a giant sewer clean out there. We had a problem at the pavilion and I can't find it. We tried really hard, but it's under so much mulch and plants. No idea where it is. Okay, any other questions on Stacy Park? Okay, moving on. Okay, here's the half-mile walking path that gives you that outline there. These are different formations of those athletic fields. So there's that you can see when you do 10 and under soccer fields, you get 6. If you do 12 and under, you get 3. And then you see the cricket and you see football. So that is a massive field out there for us. It's very exciting. All right, this is Irveside. So aside from Morrison Park, Irveside is the other park that is getting substantial renovations. So you'll notice right away, Dog Park moved based on your suggestions back over here. And then the landscape architects think it's going to be very easy to do an ornamental fence there so it's not chain link against the street. And they really liked that observation. So thank you very much on that. Here's what Dawn was talking about. We have this huge runoff problem from the Logos school parking lot. So we've got a bioretention basin right here that'll flow in through here, and that will clean all of that stormwater runoff from the parking lot. and actually make it a really nice amenity in the park. So that's pretty exciting. Then there'll be, so this will be like a natural stream bed. And so there'll be little bridges across that. So the restroom will stay where it is. It will be renovated to eliminate that problem we have with the closed off side of the men's restroom. The pavilion will stay where it is with the long-term plan that eventually it will need to be replaced. And then there'll be nature trails back here that are wood chipped, and then picnic tables that can move around under the shady trees. There'll be more like a little counts of what's it called? Counts, not a council circle. It's like a little wooded like log amphitheater. I shouldn't say amphitheater because people automatically think it's like a massive structure, but it's just logs in a circle. Then the playground will remain here. Some elements will remain, and then some will be expanded. And then over in here, we'll have more seating areas. Because Irvside is so shaded, and it's so incredibly shaded, this will be a little sunny seating option. So the splash pad will be here, and then you'll be able to sit and watch people in the splash pad and also see them in the playground. And then there'll be little seats over here too. And then this nice drive will remain, and that'll be a nice way for food trucks to come into the park when we do events here. We also have a lot of people, this pavilion's our second largest pavilion, so a lot of food trucks are used when people rent this pavilion. So that'll get them into the pavilion and off the street, which will be really nice. And you'll notice there's a new entrance here. So people will be able to enter on all of these. And then one of the biggest things is the parking lot is 100% removed. So no parking lot at all. So I thought that was a great decision. And what the landscape architects recommended is we do it like this, and then 10 years down or even 5 years down, when we reopen the park master plan and do our do our check-in and then our recommendations moving forward, if we know at that point, yes, we do need parking, we can address it then, because it was a vision item anyway. So right now we can use all of the park as a park and just keep that as a future need if we ever need it. All right, any questions on this guy? Not a single question on Irvside Park?
Looks good, Deb.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay. All right, so we're coming into Villa. Oh, I apologize. We had a Zoom and I didn't even realize it. Here you get a better look at it. You get a much better look at it. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is that we've had a lot of discussions about the gliders and how wonderful they are. So the landscape architects have actually been cataloging vendors that still have them, because there are very few that make them. I think there's only 2 of the big playground manufacturers that make them. And they've also reached out to Anova. Anova is a company off Lindbergh, right? I think they're actually in Creve Coeur. They're on Lindbergh between Ladue and Conway Road, just north of Ladue Road. And they rent our pavilion every year for their company picnic. Their employees walk in Stacy Park all the time. And they are a national playground park amenity, park amenity company. They do beautiful benches and chairs and tables and things. So they actually are very interested in figuring out a way to either repair our gliders or manufacture new ones if we were able to do custom ones. So I thought that was pretty exciting too. And they've been tracking this special event. I mean, they've been tracking our master plan. Wouldn't it be nice if they just decided to donate something to us? That would be wonderful. So, okay, moving on to Villa. So Villa, I did make 2 images because it's another one. It's hard to see everything close up, but here you can see a lot of your suggestions for Villa were put in. So in the north side, oh, let me get this out of your way. There we go. On the north side, they are calling for a a mowed grassy area here to provide access for everybody coming in from Llewellyn. And then over here, this will formalize the connection that we have with this neighborhood over here. Now we bought a couple parcels. We bought this one recently, and then we bought this parcel. So now we can actually get people into the park, and it does that, it completes the loop, because right now the pathways as they come in, they kind of end like right about here. It retains the historic and folkloric swing here. It provides little picnic areas. The way we have now, it kind of thins them out a little bit. The restroom will stay the same. The pavilion will stay the same, but they are calling for a new little area out in front of the pavilion that can be in the sunshine and can tie into events that happen in here. And then you have more little picnic tables over here in the sunshine. And then pavilion again. Then these are our existing playgrounds here, and this calls for a little bit of change of a little expansion of the playground, putting in picnic benches in the middle so you can have options, sit here while your kids are playing in the different areas. And then it puts the splash pad in here. And then in the parking, they added back in the buffer. And then they've continued this pathway around here with this loop. Okay, any questions at all?
Looks really good. I like it.
Okay, excellent. Well, that concludes our park concept plans. We made it.
Look really great. A quick question back on the Stacy Park plan about the service building, and just wanted to get some definition around what those different blocks were.
Okay,
there.
let me get back to that. No problem. The service building at Stacy?
Yeah. I wondered, it looked like there was a smaller service building with a fenced area, but I just wanted to get
Do you
clarity
mean
on that.
Warson or Stacy?
Oh, Warson Park. I'm sorry.
Oh, Warson Park. Okay. Are you talking about the maintenance shop moving behind your house?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a personal issue. It's
Yeah. No problem.
not that I don't have a lot of those.
That's okay. So this is the existing footprint of the lower parking lot.
Right.
So what this calls for is a maintenance building here that will face the driveways will face west. So the trucks will come in. We have 4 trucks. We only have we've got the green one you've seen. We've got the extended cab.
Sure.
Yeah, and then the small pickup. So those are our 3 trucks. Yep, and then we have a tractor and the tool cat. So the goal is for all of our vehicles to be parked inside overnight with this new facility.
Okay.
And this area here is a nursery. So that's where, right now we have a plant nursery happening over here, swing set. So this will be a little plant nursery. So probably 2 times of the year it'll have plants in it, maybe some over the winter, but then there'll be times when it'll be empty. Then these 3 little bins where for us to put wood chips or mulch if we have a short-term delivery. Because what we're trying to do right now is deliver the wood chips out to the parks when they come, but sometimes they still do, like this year they dropped some back in here.
Store park supplies. Yeah.
Right. So what this does, it keeps a city presence in this area of the park, which is nice.
Agreed.
The crews start at 7 a.m. and they finish at 3:30 p.m. So there'll be early morning activity and no evening activity out of here.
Gotcha. What I'm interested in, what I wanted to just kind of get on a piece of paper somewhere was the number of kids that are in that parking lot, there's a lot of activity, young people activity in that parking lot.
Oh, this
And,
parking lot? Yeah, we see that. We see that. But then now they're going to have this area over here. They're going to have.
Interesting
basketball.
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good
So
point.
a lot of this activity, I think, will shift over into here. Yeah.
Good point. Good point. It's purely around safety and big vehicles moving around, et cetera. But they shouldn't. The two should not coincide. As business hours shut down, I mean, those kids kids ought to be in school, et cetera.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Absolutely.
what kind of fencing will be there, or how will there be some kind of barrier after hours, or?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I would prefer that there aren't. We have problems. And one, honeysuckle is a big one, but also I think it looks more attractive with a fence. I mean, attractive to someone that wants to get in there and do mischief, because our goal is to have everything locked up inside the maintenance facility at night. I would prefer not to give that look to the neighborhood of putting in a fence.
Okay,
Agreed.
yeah, I guess that was my bigger point. Was I know the recent theft of the brand new water pump, within that enclosed compound. So you're hoping that this building will be large enough to accommodate not only what we currently have, but if we're looking at maybe a smaller chipper or some other things, will we be able to, or will that whole parking lot start to fill up with things as we gather them up in the future?
No, what the plans call for is my largest. So I had four different sizes of maintenance sheds, and they've actually picked the largest footprint for us, for that matter. We'll also have a shelving system inside that the forklift puts things on. So the things that right now have tarps over them, they'll be inside the building, because we want everything 100% locked up at night.
You can rack and stack.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
So the gray area.
The gray area is hard surface paving. We may repave this area, and this is grading. It'll grade it so that it's level. So we may not touch this area, or we may have this be gravel.
Gotcha.
Not sure. Yeah.
You just want some to land vehicles on, and
yes, correct.
It's level and sturdy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The good news too is that I don't think any of our vehicles have beeper backups on them either. Do they, Don? They don't, right? Yeah, we don't have beeps, because none of these are commercial size vehicles. Those vehicles are out at Public Works.
Do they have backup cameras on them?
They don't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Our
new ones will, but right now we have an older fleet.
Just another kid thing I'm thinking about. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, but kids should not be playing. I don't think kids should be out here at 7 a.m. I really don't. Yeah.
The only time you'll see them is when they're going to the bus, and at that time of the day, they'll be walking to the bus.
The kids that come up from the apartments here.
Right.
Yeah, we've really asked them not to, because they're climbing that super steep hill and causing erosion. The bus used to pick those students up out here.
Right.
I wish they'd start doing that again.
Is that that's part of the plan, is to do that?
Well, the school runs the bus program. We really can't influence what they do. I have talked to someone back here whose kids take the bus and they come up to here, and I encouraged her to talk to the school too, because the apartment complex owns that strip of land that comes out. The area that's always overgrown with honeysuckle on Grandview, by the condos.
Right.
So the building inspector calls them and gets them to cut it back. So that power line access is how the kids used to get to the bus. So it's much safer for them. Them climbing that hillside is not safe, particularly in the wintertime.
You're not going to stop a bunch of wild animals.
No, pretty much not.
I guess, so I guess the question though, that bus run that now pulls into our loop in front of the building, that's going to have to change, is what we're getting.
It will.
Because
I mean, the bus is welcome to come in and still do the loop. They absolutely are. But you know, it's really up to the school district sets their routes, and it's really up to them. But they're more than welcome to keep coming in, and they will be able. The bus will be able to get around it.
Okay.
Great. Any other?
Yeah, I would just humbly, well, not humbly, I would offer just put as a risk on that plot of land is kids running up to school and running up to the bus in the morning. Just write it down somewhere so we know we wrote it down, please.
I'm writing it down.
So somebody sees it as they move forward in planning.
Why can't we help the kids, like, you know, I mean, it seems like we're all pretty good, especially some of us like Ed are really good at trails, and can't we do something to help the kids have a place to walk?
Well, we looked at it. So it's a very, very steep hillside, and at the end of it is a parking lot. So in order for us to put a path in there, first, it's not our land. And second of all, it would have to be a built stair system. And then when they go down the stairs, then they are dumped right smack into a parking lot. So
is there a loop around their complex right there?
The complex is a loop. That's correct. Yes.
The other part that if you follow up on this, it concerns me every time I'm leaving for work in the morning on Harvest between Olive and what's my road, Ingle. The kids have to walk on that little road. There's no sidewalk. The honeysuckles coming out of people's yards, and they're small kids. Our parents are having to walk from the apartments just to go get their kids. And I don't know why they couldn't just use part of that funeral home or something and have a stop in there. Why they're having to have the kids walk. It's pretty dangerous in that spot when it gets congested. So anyway, that's just, I don't even know if it's our stuff, but it's just the kids walking is a concern and not having a place to walk.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the bus routes are set.
Yeah, I know. It's probably,
Yeah.
but we want them to be safe because they're our kids. And
yeah, absolutely. Missy or Keisha, do you know what where Mary Kay could maybe make a suggestion on that?
She can contact the admin office at the school district and express that concern. I mean, there's always an option to move bus stops to a safer location. But yeah, right now the buses are with Jason Buckner in the finance office. So he would be your point of contact.
So Beverly, am I to understand that there's been no communications or inquiry with the Ladue schools on this, or you've already attempted it and they've not been receptive?
For what? For the bus route? Oh, yeah. Last year I had conversations with Ladue. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
The family that contacted me, and then I contacted the school administration. They actually had told the family to go to another location for the bus, and the family chose not to. So I can't build a structure on land that's not ours, and I would love for there to be an easy way for people from those condos to get into the park. But at this point, without participation from the condo association, I'm not sure how we would do it because the elevation change is dramatic. And anybody that is interested, if you want to come out to the community center, I'll walk you over and show it to you. It is, it's very dicey. It would be really great if they could come through Miriam School, but again, that's another whole agency, so I don't know. But there is still an elevation change here too. So this line here is a steep drop off. The plateau comes along through this tree line where the fence is, And then this is a hillside, not as steep, but this is a hillside. And then they have a path that comes up through here. So it is a challenging spot.
And I guess that's what my question was, is that on our property, we can only do what we have, right?
Right.
Is there a way to create a deterrent? You know, we talk about, the path of least resistance, literally, right? And that's what's happening. And if we are, I mean, I don't know what our liability is. I don't want to approach it from that standpoint, that if we feel like this is a dangerous situation, it's on the condo side, but I guess that, I don't know, I guess that's complicated with the school district as well, because they're having to get to the bus. I've seen that. I know what you're talking about, and it is a scary thing. And, with inclement weather, I would not be comfortable with my children having to get to the bus stop there. That's why I was asking if there's going to be a fence on the back, or if there's a higher wall, because I'm assuming we don't want, I mean, right now it's a parking lot, but do we want kids coming into a work site, and to Rob's point about trucks without backup cameras and all kinds of things, that it's different now. I mean, it will be different. A work site is much different than an empty parking lot. So I would want to find a way to discourage anyone from that area coming up into that workspace and that work area.
Well, that's a good point. So I'll talk to the landscape architects and see what can be done. I am very resistant to putting a wall or a fence there. A wall, I think we're asking for vision problems. Also, if you live over here, I don't think you want to look at a wall. And then I think it also is an attractive target for spray paint. But maybe what we plant through here could help. Maybe a low picket fence would be appropriate. But I'll talk to the landscape architect about that too.
And then just as, I think the efforts that we're discussing are great, but kids are going to go where they want to go. And if that's the shortest way to get to where they're trying to get to, that's the path they're going to take. I mean, it's the same way up here at the apartments up here in Indian Meadows and off of Olive. They've worn a path in between the bushes that were put there to keep them from going. But it's just the people make alternate routes. So I think that we're noting it, that we know it's a problem, but I don't think that there's going to probably be a lot that we can do to change that.
Right. Yeah, it is frustrating, because you're right. It's funny where these things crop up too, because we get a lot of kids coming back through the park through here, coming out for the bus too. They come all the way through here. We actually had a 3-year-old show up at the community center one day because he followed an older sibling out the door and come all the way up, and we found him out in front of the community center. Brittany Moore looked out her window and said, "What's going on?" So little guy walked the police officer right back to his house because he said, "Do you know where you live?" And he just took him right back. And mom was coming out of the shower and she was shocked. Like, what? So I mean, they come into the park any which way. So it is always interesting. So those are excellent points. I've written it down and I will bring it to the landscape architects.
I think that's the right first step to do.
Are there any other questions on the master plan, on the concept plans?
They look great. I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, Beverly, I think we can move along then.
Great. Maybe. There we go. All right. We did our presentation. Okay, over to you, Jim.
Okay, we have been talking about plans, and of course 2020 has been kind of a crazy year. But what Beverly and I have done is put together a draft of the plans, and what I would for next year, somewhat reworked some of them combine some. And what I would like to ask the commissioners to do is to take a look at them, see what areas are of interest to you, and then get back to Beverly or me in the next 2 or 3 after the holidays, so that we can kind of put together different ways of what we can do as commissioners in the coming year. Let's see. Can you Beverly? Can you go on to the next?
Yes.
To the work plans. What we did, yeah. These are all pieces of what we've already been doing, but I've put some things together, and there's a couple of them in here that we're all really a part of. I mean, clearly the Parks Master Plan is what we've gone through tonight. Providing some input and so forth to staff on the sports and recreation programs, kind of see what we can do. One of the challenges, and it actually helps us a lot, we're seeing it with Weed Warriors, but getting increased community engagement. And that's a couple of different things. One is we've got the public meetings coming up, and so we need advocates out there, and you folks are the first line of advocacy for us. And so we will be doing those in January and working on that. Park events. And then one of the things is to work with staff to better organize some of the volunteer programs, and creating catalogs of projects, so that when somebody is fired up and wants to do something in the parks, that we've got that information readily available. And just to kind of see what we can do with Olivet and Bloom, and how we can kind of synergistically work together, and then look at how we track volunteer hours. So that's one area. Long-range financial planning, that's clearly the ultimate authority on that is the city council. But we need to look at what we can do with fees and make recommendations to the city council, and then also with the memorials. I mean, I think every meeting we talk about memorials, but we need to kind of, I think we as a commission can work to better to set up that program, because one is inventory, two is moving it along and seeing what's, and then providing city council with some recommendations. And then the other one is to create a catalog of park memorials. I mean, people are coming to Beverly for benches, different kinds of things, so that if we can proactively do that, I mean, we looked at a lot of vision items tonight, which we clearly do not have the funds earmarked at this point. But what we can do is, in terms of getting people to voluntarily make contributions, and how we can recognize them for that. So that's what that piece is. One is working with the staff in terms of park management plans, so that we all become more aware of what we're doing to make the parks what they are. Beverly earlier was talking about the trees at Indian Meadows and so forth. I think it's interesting to see what we do and to help with that. I know Ed did a lot of work with tree inventory, and just kind of figure out what we need to be doing in terms of supporting park staff in coming up with our with plans, with helping them, and to multiply the 3 or 4 people that we have, and so we can get a lot more done. And then finally is the commissioner development, and I think that's one where we will all be part of it. And hopefully we will be able to provide some webinars and so forth for folks that are interested. And I know that Beverly is sending a lot of the information out. I think each one of you is set up as a member of the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association. And I'm assuming that everyone gets the emails from them, but that would be a good, that's a good thing. And I've done a couple of their seminars. They're not terribly expensive. I don't know that we've got a budget item for it, but I mean, they're 20, 30, 40 bucks for the kinds of things that we're looking at. So what I would like for people to do is look at item 1, 3, 4, and there's one other, and 5. And let me know what you are interested in. If you could just drop an email to me, I would really appreciate that. If I don't get emails, I will be in touch. So that we can kind of get some planning, and hopefully it won't be too much of an imposition. But if we can do some of this work outside of these meetings, it will be helpful, because there's some research that needs to be done and so forth. So if you can take a look at that. Are there questions that people have about it?
Are you looking at these, Jim, as being like subcommittees, like what we used to do?
Yeah, subcommittees. And then also, if you see something in here that we haven't covered, let us know that, Beverly or me, and we can kind of figure out what's going on. Yeah, the subcommittees just help to formulate these, and then we can bring a more baked proposal to the commission on this. So if there are no further questions on that, feel free to email me, and we can go from there.
And what were the numbers one more time, Jim?
Let's see, Beverly, I think it was
It's
1,
1,
3,
4, 5.
5. Yeah.
It's a combination on my luggage.
So, okay, well, thank you.
Jim, do they all have a copy of these draft goals in their packet? Has this been provided to them? Because I've seen some messages going back and forth about folks not getting stuff tonight. So please make sure that they all have this so they know what they're looking at.
I believe it's in the packet on the
Yes.
all
Yes.
that site.
Everything was in the packet except the park concept plans. Everything else was provided when the agenda was posted.
And what we would, based on the information that we get back, we will then, at next month's meeting, we'll flesh this out, and then also and give contact on staff who's going to support these various initiatives. Okay, next item.
Future agenda items.
Talked about the work plan, the park tree update. Do you have?
Brian's preparing something for hopefully the next meeting. He'd like to just give an overview of what our forest is, what our park forest is.
Okay. And then the PMP communication plan.
Yeah, that's for the public meeting at the end of January. So I'll be at the January meeting. We will be talking about the logistics of that and how it looks, and I'll be showing you the microsite for all the park improvements. So I will be looking for your feedback on how we do our outreach. We'll be doing yard signs and a direct mail, and getting the information up in advance for people to look on the website before the meeting. So, and then the actual meeting itself, we're still figuring out the logistics and how we're going to operate that.
And I think those of you who attended the GRG meeting, I thought that was a good model.
It was a
for,
great
for
model.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
But what happens behind the scenes, I think Barb and Beverly can speak to. There was a lot of prep.
There was a lot of prep, a lot of practice. Yeah.
Practice and prep. That's really what it is, and to make sure that these meetings don't degenerate into this and that, but at the same time get the information and get the buy-in. That's really the
Right.
key.
Yeah, and I just want to caution that these aren't agenda items, so we really shouldn't talk in great detail about, just identify that that's coming at a future meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, future, and so important dates.
What did I do? There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm in presentation mode. I apologize. There we go. Somehow I hit the back. There we go. All right.
Important dates.
Yep. Next Weed Warriors is January 9th. We'd love to see you all out there. It really is fun, and you meet a lot of people.
And
and
the PMP meetings that's a tentative date at this point, correct?
That date, I think, that is, I think that's the date the mayor selected of that week. It is tentative because there is a chance we'll do it the first week of February, but do save 27th as a date. Save that date. It may potentially be, since the agenda went out, we've learned there's a possibility it would be the first week of February, but we're not sure. There's a lot that has to happen with the plans and everything before we can solidify that date.
And I think there's also some discussion about planning, whether we do one meeting or we do multiple meetings as well.
Yes, I am advocating that we do a daytime and a nighttime, but logistically, we'll see if we're able to do that.
Okay.
Where is Weed Warriors going to be on the 9th?
I don't know. I've asked Brian to kind of forecast the rest of them. We don't have an idea yet, so he's working on getting that done before next week. Actually, he's going to get that done next week before he goes on vacation.
Okay. Is there any other business? If not, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's 9 o'clock on the dot.
Okay, well, thank you all. As we get more information, we will share it with the commission, and a lot of exciting things that are happening. So,
Great meeting, Jim. Great meeting.
Thank you all. Safe holidays. Happy, healthy New Year, everyone. See you in 2021. God bless you all.
Okay, take care.
Bye, Beverly.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, Jim.
Thank you. Bye, Keisha. Bye, Ed. Bye, Mary Kay. Bye, Jim. Bye, Rob. Bye, Sue. Bye, Don.
Barb.
Bye, Missy.